So what do we tell other people about what has happened, or do we tell other people about what's happened?
I think that we actually covered this in our first talk about trauma. We did cover this at length, and I think perhaps even more importantly with this topic with sexual abuse, we are needing to think about, this is really sensitive information, and being mindful of our child or our adolescent's voice and who they might want to share and what they might want to share, particularly with an adolescent. But then also thinking about what's in the best interest of the child and who might need to know, so that that the child can be receiving enough appropriate sort of support and empathy and understanding and compassion. For example, with primary school age children in particular, I'd say that it's if they're struggling in the school environment, it would be really helpful to share just enough for with the relevant teacher, or perhaps a SENCO, somebody in a pastoral care role, so that some allowances or some extra supports can be put in place for the child at school when they're needing, a little bit of time out, or they're needing a little bit of extra kind of nurturance in those moments where they might be struggling with big feelings.
Because it is a tough one to know, who's, we've certainly had situations where kids, for example, have told everybody, this is what happened, or, some parents have wanted to get that support on board, and as Sam was saying, we want to be careful and respectful, about what that child might need, as opposed to who wants to know. It's kind of who needs to know. But I'm not sure if we've discussed this before, but, again, for those children to work out, well, who are safe people to tell? Because it might be that they want to tell their best friend or their group of friends. But again, next week they might not be friends anymore, or these kids might go, oh, too much information. So again, part of the work can be, I can see you want to tell your friends, well, how can we tell them? Well, how could we tell them enough that they kind of know you've been through a really tough time, but we're not telling them too much that in fact that's your private information. Because that line between what's your private information and what's shameful information, we want to be really careful to say, this isn't your shame. And it's tough. I mean, even grown-ups find that hard to know, how much do I disclose versus how much do I hold back, and that's a hard thing for the wee ones to traverse.
And also cases of adolescents where, they have genuinely been quite distressed by the fact that their parent might be telling all of their friends as a way, to seek to gain support for themselves, when the adolescent's like, hey, that's my private business and you're just telling everybody about it. I think that can actually cause quite a bit of harm within the parent-child relationship too. So just remembering that, I think especially with adolescents, to seek their, have a discussion about it, and who would it feel right for me as your mum, your dad, to be able to talk, to be able to share that with, if I really felt that I needed to. And it might be an auntie or an uncle or someone that they trust, and they might say, oh yeah, that's okay, you can let auntie know about that.
And I think in some cases, just adding on to that, if you're, as the adult, feeling like you need to talk to someone, it would be important not to give all of the control over to the child or the young person or adolescent, because I think if you said, is it okay, and the adolescent quite rightly might say no, then you kind of
shot yourself in the foot.
Whereas if you go, hey, I need to have some places to put this, because I want to be the best mum I can be to support you, so I need to be able to tell someone. So I'm thinking I could tell this person or this person, which one would you feel more comfortable me telling? Or I need to tell my best friend, because for me to be, doing what I need to do for you. So does that make sense? So sometimes that idea of, if the child is resistant, the parent might have to go, look, actually, this is about your well-being, because I need to be well. So, there can be, but you are doing it transparently. You're letting the young person know.